Hey, what's up guys? I'm Jake from TodaysiPhone.com, and it's been a while and I'm happy to be back, so let's get started. Alright, now obviously the biggest thing happening in the past 2 weeks is AT&T's purchase of T-Mobile USA. Now, for a while, it looked as if Sprint was going to purchase T-Mobile, but at the last moment, AT&T jumped in with an offer of around $40 billion, and Deutsche Telekom, the company that owns T-Mobile USA, was happy to accept. If you think about it though, the AT&T T-Mobile merger makes a lot more sense than the Sprint T-Mobile merger, just because AT&T and T-Mobile are both GSM carriers, whereas Sprint is a CDMA carrier. Now, customers of each respective carrier won't see any changes for about 12 months, but after that time, things are going to start picking up. Now, it's not known yet whether AT&T will plan on running T-Mobile as its own separate carrier, or whether they're just going to merge into one giant carrier. But what is known though is that the main motivational force behind the merger was the expansion of 4G. AT&T has stated in its press release that its goal for this merger is to bring true 4G to 95% of Americans. What does this mean for iPhone users? First of all, there will be no T-Mobile iPhone, at least not for now. Things may change after this 12-month introductory period, but up until that point, if you want an iPhone, you're going to have to go to AT&T or Verizon. And if AT&T really does succeed in bringing 4G to that many people, with Sprint and Verizon also working to expand their 4G networks, it seems pretty certain that we will see a 4G iPhone sometime in the future. However, if Apple's past with 3G technology is any indication of the future, we won't see a 4G iPhone for at least a couple years. Okay, next, I want to introduce you guys to a new segment I like to call Ridiculous Things That Apple Does. Now this week, the ridiculous thing that Apple is doing is suing Amazon for creating an Android app store. More specifically, for using the terminology App Store. According to Apple, Amazon has unlawfully used the App Store mark to elicit software developers throughout the United States. Furthermore, Apple claims that because Amazon used the name App Store, it's going to confuse everybody who uses the iOS App Store. Now, iOS users have responded with, and I quote, "Are you kidding me?" Not to be rude, but if there's anybody that confuses Amazon App Store for Android with iTunes App Store, that's more of a problem with them than it is with the name. Now, in a related story, Apple is also suing Earth after a disgruntled customer tried to eat a turkey and cheese sandwich, but instead got a mouthful of sand because the names are so similar. Alright, moving on. You may have noticed that as June gets closer, the amount of iPhone rumors floating around the web has grown exponentially to the point where it's not an exaggeration to say that there's a new iPhone rumor at least every week. And recently it's become hard to keep track of just what everybody is thinking. NFC, no NFC, 4-inch screen, no 4-inch screen, curved metal back, straight glass back. You get the idea. So that's why I want to tell you guys about this really cool infographic from the guys at nowhereelse.fr. Now this thing is huge, so I probably won't be able to put the full thing in the video, but it is basically a map of every iPhone 5 rumor out there right now, as well as an indicator of how likely this is to come true. Just to give you a taste of what it's like, they give the 4-inch screen an 80% chance of making an appearance on the iPhone 5, while they give the rumor of no home button just 20%. So, if this sounds cool to you, you can go to TodaysiPhone.com and check it out. Alright, next, in iPad 2 news, the device launched in 25 more countries on Friday. Now, if you were wondering how the price of the US iPad stacks up to the rest of the world, an Italian website called setib.it has released a chart of prices from every country that the iPad 2 is available in. Americans will be pleased to learn that they still have the lowest price out of any other country, followed by New Zealand and Australia. Customers in Sweden and Norway will be not so happy to learn that here, the 16GB Wi-Fi only iPad costs $499, but over there it costs up to $700. That's for the lowest end model. You can try eBay. Unfortunately, the pricing of the iPad 2 doesn't really matter if nobody can buy it. The iPad 2 has been on sale for almost 2 weeks now, and Apple still isn't able to meet the demand of the customers. From the 4 or 5 stores I've talked to in the New York and New Jersey area, they have lines starting as early as 7 o'clock in the morning, and while they open at 8, they're almost always sold out by 10 o'clock. Now, I don't know if this is because Apple is just short on supply, or whether there are just tons and tons of people buying this device, but it is very, very frustrating. Now, some of the reasons for this iPad shortage could be the fact that they just sold way more than they were anticipating. Last year, the original iPad sold about 300,000 units during its first weekend of sales. But with this iPad though, it's rumored to have sold between 500,000 and 1 million devices in one weekend. That's insane! So it could just be that we have to give Apple time to ramp up their stock, But there is also another problem. Now apparently there have been a bunch of reports of people waiting in line for hours to get their device, but everybody in front of them buys two, so the device sells out twice as fast and they don't get one. Not cool. Now if you'd rather just order it online and wait, the estimated time for all models, Wi-Fi, Verizon, and AT&T is 3 to 4 weeks as of March 27th. And at this point it might take that long for Apple to get an adequate stock in their stores anyway, so it might be the safer and easier way to just order it online. Now if you're following me on Twitter, which you should totally do by the way, you'll know that I've had trouble with Apple stores having no iPads in stock when I want to go buy them. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Did you wait in line for 12 hours the first day and get one? Or have you been trying to get one recently and not been able to because of lack of stock at your local Apple store? Let me know in the comment section down below. Okay, moving on. iOS 4.3 came out a couple weeks ago, and for the most part, it's been a good, albeit minor, update for iOS devices. However, a certain number of users are experiencing some issues. More specifically, they claim that the battery life on their device has taken a dramatic turn for the worse, often running out completely in less than a day. Now, I personally haven't noticed any problem with my iPhone 4's battery life, but has anybody else had any problems with their iPhone or iPod Touch or iPad running out of battery way faster than it should? The comment section is in the same place as last time, which is down there. And finally, you may have noticed that my iUniversity article went live a day later than usual. That's because from this week on, the iUniversity articles will not go live on Thursday anymore. Instead, they will go up every Friday. So make sure to check those out. Well, that's it for this week, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, if you have any comments or questions, definitely feel free to follow me on Twitter at TIPJ, and I will answer your questions to the best of my ability. And as always, for more news, views, and reviews, don't forget to check out TodaysiPhone.com. Alright, next, I want to introduce... Alright, next, I want to introduce...